Welcome into the latest episode of Betting the Pitch, the European Soccer Edition. We're going to be, I guess it's international summer, we'll put it that way. But going through and going on today's episode will be the Euro 2024 semifinals, trying to find some winners against the spread, maybe even some two advanced numbers. And hopefully I'll be able to survive a terrible penalty shootout as I have not won one just yet. We'll recap what happened in last week, plus get ultimate best bets end of show. Hope everyone had a nice holiday. I clearly am super sunburned, but if you're not watching on video, you can leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or subscribe to YouTube at @the_Real_G Warner. But if you're watching live, feel free to throw in some comments, and I think I can display them while we're recording right now. So thanks everyone for joining. It's late night on Tuesday, the 9th of July here in the United States. Just switched over on the East Coast, and I guess also in my home of Dallas, Texas. I will be back there tomorrow. But just going to go through the two games on this card, then try to get something out tomorrow morning on the Copa America. That is probably more of a TBD, but I think most of you are watching for the Euro success that I've had. Thank you for the support on Patreon at @the_Real_G Warner across all platforms, patreon.com/real_G Warner. But we'll get into this episode and we'll start here. We'll start on the Tuesday matchup. It's going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. And 2 p.m. Central, we got Spain and France. About maybe the best matchup you could ask for. It's maybe disappointing. It's not the final, but it should be a great contest. We have, I think, two teams that have kind of gone different ways in this tournament. Spain was certainly the better play so far. France has really failed to score goals in any sort of capacity. It hasn't really solved that. We're able to get through a penalty shootout against Portugal to get here, but things have not been impressive. And Spain are currently a pick'em with all the juice right now at BetOnline, SportsBetting.ag. If you're not a member at either of those sites, go follow the link to the podcast description, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or YouTube. And you can get click a link that'll shoot you to a website and get you some free money to sign up for your first time deposit at either of those sites. In terms of where this number has gone, France Open is a much bigger underdog, so some money has been coming in on the French. I'm pretty interested in seeing who and where this number goes. If we have anybody closing an underdog, getting a quarter of a goal, because I feel like it's going to be a very tight round yet again. Very good chance it's decided in penalties, as we've seen across all these summer international tournaments at this point. But I think we'll see what happens in this one and where the number goes. In terms of the total, we have over/under of 2, very low for Spain against France, but should be a very, very tight game, I think, throughout. Total here is juice more to the over, -114. That's been getting bet under. Well, I guess initially this opened, I saw France as a bigger underdog and the under as a bigger underdog as well. So there's been money coming in on both the French side and the under. So I guess if you're looking for goals and a ton of them, or representing or trying to root for the Spanish, it doesn't feel like the marketplace is going that way just yet. And usually the favorites are the ones that get bet first. Difference here is, I think, coming into this tournament, France was expected to do better than Spain. We're a much shorter number to win this. I think they went off as second favorites, and Spain like fourth or fifth, depending on where Portugal finished at your sports book. But I think we have a really great matchup here without much of a crowd advantage. Most likely in Germany, should be a lot of neutrals there anyway. I believe this matchup's at Dortmund, but don't quote me on that one. And then I can also go through a 2 advanced line. But I think just for side and total right now, biggest interest is currently in under 2 goals. Important push on 2. Probably wouldn't play it below there. But if you can get France as a quarter goal underdog at a reasonable price, maybe -130 or so, I'd be looking for something like that or better. I'm looking to have the underdog in this matchup. Now, 2 advanced number, I can also tell you where that's moved since I've been tracking it. Currently, we have Spain -125 to advance. That includes the extra period plus the 2 halves of extra time, I guess, and then also a penalty shootout. But it looks like Spain has actually been, again, I guess no surprise, excuse me, I'll put it this way. France has been getting hit more. The spread hasn't really, or excuse me, the money line percentage to get through hasn't really changed much. We're down less than 1% on the French side, +107 for them to advance to a -125 for Spain. Spain has dropped about 1.5%, so not huge moves, but I expect France will probably get bet up until game time, just because I feel like have been taking the money early. I think in general, coming into this tournament, there was a lot of belief in France. I think the bigger money will try not to overreact to the performances of Spain so far in this tournament. But I got to say, if I'm picking someone to get through here, it's probably Spain. We'd love to see them move to even money or something like that. That's probably the minimum I would require to play them to advance, the Spanish, that is. Just haven't seen much from France in this tournament, and I don't think they turn it on against Spain. So my best bet on Tuesday, July 9th, which we'll talk about in the Ultimate Best Bet end of show for this Euro 24 episode. Um, I think it's got to be the Spain France under 2 goals. So move to Wednesday. It's going to be a briefer episode. We'll try to get one in tomorrow morning to get through the Copa America semifinals. I think I can click this here now. So if anyone has any comments I want to show up, I think you can do this on Twitter. But don't at me or quote me on that one, I guess. We'll see what ends up happening there. But moving back now to the regular title at the bottom of the live stream. If you're not following at the real_G Warner on any sort of platform, especially Twitter, though, make sure you hit that. And thank you for all of you that are with me late night, super late night, getting ready for another big day in Europe. But we'll move to Wednesday, Netherlands, the Dutch, and England. We have Netherlands a underdog right now. England with all the juice, far more than Spain has ever seen. I guess maybe from the opener, about the same number there. But to be, I guess, to announce it the way I'm seeing it currently. So Netherlands I initially had as a bigger underdog at Pick'em. So it means some money has been coming in on the Dutch, though to me it looks like the English are gonna teeter-totter from Pick'em to a quarter of a goal underdog. I don't think they deserve to be a favorite. They haven't shown any sort of offense this entire tournament. Thought we're very fortunate to get a really good goal to equalize Switzerland and then somehow survived in penalties. As I told you, I'm 0-2 in this tournament with underdogs in both, of course. Positive expected value bets, but they don't always come through. But that's not really what this is about. It's about trying to figure out who is more likely to get through here. And when we talk about the total, currently 2 as well. So not a lot of goals expected in this tournament, to say the least. Probably the reasonable outcome, I think, to expect. Not a lot of goals anywhere. But the English are favorites. I'll be looking for the Netherlands to move to quarter goal underdog. That would be a reversal of where the numbers have moved so far. Total at 2 has been getting bet a little bit to the under, actually, after starting with a little bit more juice to over. Those are both ways that I lean betting the Dutch and England. I think when we talk about this matchup, it's really the Dutch, who have been known as a great offense, really haven't shown that this tournament at all. They've been a lot more conservative. I think I've realized coming out of a tough group that they were not the strongest country and maybe weren't going to be as prideful as they had in the past. Instead, very pragmatic, Ronald Koeman. And I think that will play very well to a low scoring matchup against an English side that are really just going to try to out talent you, but they don't play very well. It's hard for them to take leads. And when they do, they're going to be very, very conservative. That probably plays into under here better than it does the Dutch side if the English are able to hold on at 1-0 and win here potentially. But I don't honestly see that to be a really likely scenario, especially if England moves to a quarter goal favorite. Then I think we're going to have, it probably looks like it'll be there, and it probably is currently available, an expensive +1/4 on the Netherlands. But I think the Dutch, despite not having the big names up front, I don't think that these teams are much different. So I'm looking at the underdogs in both of these matchups. But before I leave this Wednesday matchup behind to get towards our ultimate best bet coming up in the end of show, which will be pretty soon. So stick around if you're with me right now live on Twitter at @the_real_G Warner. But I think we should also get to the 2 advanced number. The Netherlands +115 to get through, England -136. That's seen some Dutch money come in, and I think I can probably summarize it pretty well. That both underdogs seem to be getting bet in the European 2024 semifinals. And I think the totals are being most likely expected to see fewer goals than they were initially, though I guess you probably not going the same. So pretty much the underdog is getting bet in both these games. That's the easiest, simplest comparison to make. And now I think it's probably time to get to a really short, brief episode of the Betting the Pitch podcast and get to our best bet. Before we get there, I want to make sure to mention my baseball podcast coming out tonight. I am traveling, so we'll see how that goes. It might be pushed back to Wednesday with that A. Brooks bets. I think we're a million straight bets in a row have won. We finished all of July, all of June undefeated, 8-0, 4 episodes, 2 wins for each of us. on each of the podcasts. Also planning to do an off-season NFL podcast to get through potentially some futures, also some regular season win totals. If you have anything you'd like to hear specifically sooner rather than later, please let me at @the_real_G Warner or at @A_SCHNITKER let us know, and we will certainly work that into the plans. And then haven't really heard any movement from at Big East Ben. I think he's still celebrating his undefeated and his perfect March Madness. We're still looking to do an episode to get you ready for college basketball, the way too early one. But we probably need to see a little bit more in the lineups before we end up doing that. So those are the episodes I've been on. Of course, been with pregame. We'll see you back. Had 2-0 on the Monday podcast. We'll be back to try to go. I think it will be 8-0 on that podcast as well. I'll be back Thursday night, and we'll probably try to get a Copa America episode out before I start traveling tomorrow back to DAAS. Until then, I think it's time for that ultimate best bet. So we might as well get into it. If you're not following me on all the platforms at @the_real_G Warner, please do so. Please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. Huge for the search rankings, and will do us a lot to maybe get more episodes, maybe more in depth. Also want to make sure I mention the 1-minute version of this, the ultimate best bet portion, will be cut into a reel at @the_real_G Warner on Instagram, plus a YouTube short on YouTube at @the_real_G Warner. So now I get the hair out of my face. Let's pick our ultimate best bets. And it's one of basically my favorite best bets from this round. Gonna pick one from each of the games on Tuesday and on Wednesday, and we will figure out who's gonna make us the most money and try to get on the right side of the ledger. So I'll start right now. Hey, this is @real_G Warner. This is Betting the Pitch, the ultimate best bet coming end of show, the 1-minute reel or 1-minute YouTube short at @the_real_G Warner on both those platforms. Really appreciate it. If you want to listen to the full episode, this is a short one, only going through 2 matches, but ultimately probably gets still all the way to 15 minutes or so. You can find that at @the_real_G Warner on YouTube, and of course under the Betting the Pitch podcast network on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. But this is the ultimate best bet. I'm @the_real_G Warner. You can follow me also on patreon.com/real_G Warner. Best spot to get all my plays, leans, write-ups across all sports, including the really hot baseball summer that's begun. This Euro tournament has been dominant so far. Hoping to continue that until this thing wraps up and we get a couple weeks off for the end of the season. For my best bet on Tuesday, my favorite is the under 2 goals, Spain and France. Also on Wednesday, same story, Netherlands, England under 2. But I see less goals in the English match, so I'll go under 2 in that match. It was my best bet. And that'll do it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in late night. As you can see, I'm a little bit under the weather, but we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with some best bets for the Copa America. And we'll see you all and talk to you all very, very soon.